Alright then, so last video we planned out floor 1 of the Swamp Monster Dungeon. So far we have the plan of the village where the party will go to, and the combat encounter they will have there. Then, descending into the dungeon, what they will encounter there, and what monsters they might find. Now, a fairly simple question, something that gets raised quite regularly on Dungeon Master forums and role-playing game withholding thought process sort of things. Basically, this doesn't make a lot of sense. The thought of the party going into a dungeon and then having a long rest outside the dungeon monster's room. Now, in the case of something like a lich or a dragon or something sentient, it doesn't make sense, because obviously the enemy will know they're there, they'll know they're within, and if they're taking a long rest, they just know, well, why don't I send someone to attack them? There's your answer. If the party take a long rest in a dungeon, before they've managed to kill everything in that floor, send something after them. Have a small goblin raid. Have an enemy that they haven't cleared in that area come and attack them. They'll still get the experience points for the ending encounter. They will still get the reward for dealing with everything on that floor. But it means they're less likely to take a badly advised long or short rest. I mean, short rests, fair enough. It's an hour long. They can put them enough guard and things may not move around enough. But a long rest is 8 hours long. It's asleep. I'm not saying mess with your party's long rest. Everyone should get the chance to rest and heal up during the encounter. They should also have the chance to get enough health potions and get the resources they need to properly finish the dungeon. In this situation, if they don't manage to kill off those quaggoths in the kitchen and decide to rest in the same room that they just killed the mimic, or they decide to rest in the supervisor's room, throw the quaggoths at them. Have the quaggoths basically wander past, and whoever is on night watch sees them, and they go for them. You'll have an interesting rolling encounter where people are dealing with not being fully armoured, or not having spells properly prepared. Now, of course, in a situation of my part, that doesn't really count for much. What with one of them being a sorcerer, they being a bard, so they don't need to prepare their spells according to the rules in the player's handbook. It's only wizards that need to prepare their spells before the start of the session. And yes, you can quote me on that. But that doesn't matter. Let's go on to floor 2. So, where the party last left, they would be going down a small ramp, possibly a small stairwell, or possibly a slide route. If you've ever been to the Salzburg mines in Germany, the way to get down is actually a slide, and that descends down to the lower floors, and then you'll use a rope to climb back up. That could be an option. But that's if I wanted the party facing the other way. I want the party to go down and one going deeper in. So it will be a slow ramp down with some very rough-hewn stairs in the edges. So make sure you make note of that before going in. Make your arrow marker. Draw the stairs. It will then give them a clear-cut way out. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of in Skyrim and similar games where you defeat the enemy and then there's a secret door that leads to the entrance. If there was that secret door, you should have been able to find it. It's not right that you can't find them. So, next floor. This time we'll be using the floor building from the Dungeon Master's Guide. We're going to find out how they get to the next floor down. So, you will turn to page 290 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Let's make sure it is 290. Yes, 290. So let's start with what kind of passage they come out into. We're rolling a d20. We land on a 14. The passage continues for 20 feet. So measure out 20 feet on your page. I'll be using the white lines to denote 20 feet. And the passage turns right and continues for 10 feet. So we've already got this maze-like structure forming. We roll again. Continue straight for 30 feet. No doors or side passages. Is there any? Yeah, yes, there is. There is. Oh, I'm very sorry. That meant there is another path that goes 10 feet beyond the right-hand turn. So it turns right and then continues for 10 feet. So on the right-hand path, we'll finish this. We roll a 17, which gives us a chamber. So we roll on the chamber table. What is this chamber? It's a 19. Nope. Chamber. 19. A 60 foot by 60 foot square octagon. Sorry, a bit strange being an octagon in here, but fine by me. Let's go with that. Now, are there any exits from this chamber? We're rolling a d20 again. 9. There is one exit, the same one you came through. So we'll find out what that chamber was when the dungeon is finished. Continue with the main path again. We roll a 17. We find another chamber. Isn't that exciting? On a 6 for this chamber, it's a square, 40 foot by 40 foot. And does it have any exits? 17. 3. So let's work out where these exits will be. One of them has to be the entrance into the room. So, me personally, I'll have one coming off to the right and one going straight ahead. So, let's see what's straight down first. Going south. 3. So, it continues 20 feet. And there is a door to the right. Now, to me, that's the party's right. So I'll be drawing that on the left-hand wall. And the chamber then continues. The path then continues another 10 feet. Let's continue this path until it ends. 16. A chamber. Very good. And we're starting to get a solid structure of how this works. So 11, the size of the room is a rectangle of 30 foot by 40 foot. So we make sure it's 20 foot either side of the chamber on the entrance and create that rectangle. Are there any exits? We roll a 16. There are 3 exits. One including the entrance in. Let's have 2 exits, both heading south. Let's go from that doorway we found. What kind of doorway is it? The door, I rolled a 13, is a stone door. So we'll need to mark that with a circle. So from this point on this map, a circle denotes a stone door. What is beyond the door? An 11 gives us a chamber. Of course it does, everything is a chamber. What kind of chamber? A 19. An octagon of 60 feet by 60 feet. So that will of course connect at the corner to our rectangle. Anyone following along at home? I don't know why you would be though. Right, are there any exits to this chamber? 6. one exit to the chamber, the entrance you came through. So this is a side room protected by a stone door with something inside. We'll find out what later. Let's finish off those two southern routes. So we have an 18 on the path, which concludes with a chamber. What size is this chamber? It's an 8, so it's a rectangle, 20 foot by 30 foot. Now, due to the sizing on this, I'm going to make the rectangle slightly differently facing than the previous one. It is still centre on, which is a bit silly when you come down to it. How many exits does the chamber have? 18? 3 exits. How about we have one of them reconnecting to whatever will be on the next side, and the other one will have it going backwards to the party. So let's do where that one goes first. On a 15, we have a chamber. Perfect. What size chamber? Oh, a very small chamber, 20 foot by 20 foot. Small square chamber. How many exits? On a 5, we have none. Now, to be honest, that seems silly because any chamber would have one exit. The exit would be the way that you came through. Now, what about the other path? 11. Oh, now isn't that interesting? I just rolled 11 on the table, which means continue straight for 20 feet, then the passage turns left and continues 10 feet. To me, as I said, that means the passage totals 30 feet in length, with a left-hand turn to the party, which I'll draw on the right, which reconnects it to that previous room. It's almost like the dice know what I'm doing. They of course don't. They're bits of plastic. Shh, don't tell them I said that. 2. Continue straight a further 30 feet. Alright, then what? 13. Then the passage turns right and continues. So the whole passage turns to the right, which to the party, which I will draw as if going left. Perfect. We're making enough space on the paper for all of this. So what's the worst thing? You always run out of paper by the end of this. 16. A chamber. Finally, this may end. What is the size of the chamber? It's a 19. It's an octagon. Really like octagons, these lot, don't they? How many exits from the octagon? We're all 3. 0, so only the 1. So again, another dead end. Which means this whole path for the party will result in a dead end, but it will result in a lot of searching. So, what is the other way out of that square room, sort of an antechamber? We have a 12. Continues straight, and then the passage turns left. There we are. We have another 2. Continue straight, no side doors. How do you wind up with exiting the chamber? I am curious. You need to find a door, and then beyond the door are stairs. But that's alright. If we wind up closing up the dungeon, I'll just designate one of the rooms is the way down. 14. Right. Interesting. It's almost as if the dice know what I need, because we just rolled a 14, and the passage turns to the left, to the right, sorry, which on the paper is left, going into that empty space we have yet to use. 9. There is an additional path to the left, which to the party will be south. Very good. Let's find out what's south. It's an 18. A chamber. What size is the chamber? We have a 20. A trapezoid. Jesus Christ, what is with these quaggoths and these miners building weirdly shaped rooms in this mine? Right. We build the trapezoid. There we are. Are there any exits from this trapezoid? 9. Sorry, that's 6. 6. There is not. It's a dead end. We continue with the original path. We have a 12. Continue straight to midpoint, then the passage turns to the left, which the party will be south. We are starting to run out of paper again. Now, obviously, don't follow everything in the book. The book doesn't know how much paper you have or what you actually need things to be. Use the book as you need to, but if something's inappropriate, don't do it. Don't go with something stupid just because the book says so. Use the spirit of the written rule, not the wording of the written rule. 13. Touch to the right. Oh, again, it seems to know what we're doing. 16 on this roll. We have a chamber. The chamber is a number 7. Now, just due to the shape of this, I will put an extra corner in this. So the chamber will be a 7, which is a rectangle of 20 by 7 by 30. And this time the room will be off-center to the entrance. Are there any exits? 16. There are 3 exits, including the one that we just came through. So we'll have 2 headed northwards, because that's the only space I've got left. 5. Continue straight and the passage ends in a door. This is the far left. What type of door is it? We roll a 4. It is a wooden door, but it is unlocked. What is behind the door? 16. A chamber. You know, I may come back to that in just a moment, because it would be really appropriate for the stairs to be behind that door, for them to find it there, but there to also be extra routes that they could take. So we'll come back to that in a moment. 5. Oh, this route also ends in a door. What kind of door is it? An 8. It is also a wooden door, unlocked. Behind it. Okay, that one's the stairs. So, let's find out what's behind the other door. Now, we've just rolled for a chamber. Let's see what's on the chamber. What kind of chamber is it? It's a 3. The chamber is a square, 30 foot by 30 foot. And are there any exits? We roll a 5. There are none. So, amazingly, rolling purely from the book, with only 1 additional corner just because I was running out of space. But if I hadn't done that, we still would have wound up in the same position we are. This is the map my party will traverse for the 2nd floor. Absolutely fantastic. I will post a picture of that to my Instagram account for anyone interested. Now, let's number up these rooms. Work out any roaming locations where they might get attacked. Let's find out what they're facing. So, the big octagon will be 1. The square will be 2. Second octagon, 3. Rectangle, 4. Smaller rectangle, 5. Connecting rectangle, 6. Last octagon, 7. The trapezoid will be 8. Next rectangle, 9. Room, 10. So, we have 10 rooms for them to explore. Now, yes, this is a mine, but it has been taken over by Underdark. I don't think roaming enemies make a lot of sense in this environment. Rather, traps make more sense in this environment. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 connecting pathways. That is 6 areas where we could put a trap each. Let's see how many traps there are going to be. D6. This will tell us how many traps are in those corridors. Reroll on a 1. Looks like there will be 2 traps that the party have to face in corridors. That doesn't include rooms. So, as I said, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's work out where they're going to be. Let's roll the dice. 1 to 6 will tell us where. 2. So our first trap will be near the stone door. Maybe the stone door will be involved. The next one, reroll that. Yeah, looks like we're going to have one right as they walk in. Isn't that lovely? So X1 and X2. Weirdly enough, there is a long corridor with no traps, but I suppose they wouldn't expect people to get through. And because of that, let's apply a single locked door. Makes it look crazy. Locked door. There we are. Right. Time to work out what those traps are. We'll start with the traps, then we'll do the rooms. So, we take the map page away, and then we start filling in what is going to happen. So we need the random page again. Return to page 290. Now we know there will be traps. It's purely a question of dungeon death trap. Ah, okay, that's the type of dungeon. Right, we're looking for traps that we can trigger. Chamber, random dungeon hazards. Here we go, random traps, D6. So, first we roll to see what kind of trap it will be. Will be stepped on, moved through. The first one will be a 4, which is opened, door, treasure chest. We could easily apply a door, couldn't we? Oh, but we have a door, the stone door, X2. Stone door. Opening. Triggers. What kind of trap? Now, in the book, it only vouches setback, dangerous, or deadly. Now, I'm not a fan of deadly traps personally. I don't like my party to be able to be killed off by a trap. I like the traps to weaken. But let's go with the dice and see what happens. 3. It is a dangerous trap. Fine by me. What is the trap? We have a table for the D100. So you take your tens and your units. Roll a 13. Lucky for some. A chute opens in the floor. Now that could be a route straight to the boss. Could do. Let's see what the reroll says. 34. Vent releases gas, blinding, acidic, obscuring, paralyzing, poisonous, or sleep-inducing. You know, I could quite easily cope with the chute opening up. Anyone fails the dexterity throw on opening the door risks falling straight into the boss encounter. And wouldn't that be fun? So that's what we're going to do. They won't be expecting that. There'll be a dex save with a DC. It's an old room, old and wasteful. It's got a DC 12. I don't really want too many of them to fall through. It also depends if any of them are actually able to open the door. I suppose the door should have a DC of 15 to try and force their way in. There we are. Oh, wrong way around. That's no good. Got to keep your compartments separate in your Card King Pro dice bag. What about X1 though? What's the trap there? To the D6. It will be a moved through. Now that's appropriate. Move through triggers a dangerous trap. Cars. Trap effect. What's this trap do? 31. Floor collapses or is an illusion. Not really a fan of collapsing traps twice in a round. Classic. Swinging Pendulum of Death. Now, what's good there is there's actually only 2 members of the party that can actually get past that. Lenny and Arya. There we are. Sometimes it's nice setting up traps that only 1 or 2 party members could solve. This being due to some party might be a bit more pig-headed. For example, I'm quite certain Freslin will try and use his shield to block the pendulum. This won't work. On a swing, it will cause D6 damage. Not enough. Basically a giant axe, isn't it? So call it D12. Yeah, call it D12 damage on a failed passage, and you are pushed back. The only way to get past is a successful dex save by someone that can make an uncanny dodge effect, being a barbarian or a College of Jesters, College of Satire bard. So those are our traps. Now what about our rooms? Let's start with 1. What is within the room? So in room 1 we have the large octagonal room northwards after the pendulum trap. Got my paper there so I can check where everything is. We need a D100. 44. 44, okay, according to page 296, gives us a random monster. No treasure. So, for a random, we would actually use a random monster generator, which we'll use momentarily. I'll leave enough space so that I can fill it in. Go to 2. Let's just populate this environment first. So in room 2, the large square room, we roll a 71, which gives us a trap room. What is this trap? And how is it triggered? It is triggered by stepping on the floor. Gives us an answer of 46. Oh, perfect. Huge wheeled statue rolls down corridor. Well, that answers my problem very quickly. The wheel will come from behind them, coming down. Everyone must make a dex save, with whoever is at the back with disadvantage. Anyone who gets hit, let's say 2d12 damage crushing. And it will, if everyone gets out of the way, or if no one gets out of the way, it will slam through and smash down that locked door on the far end. So, what will happen is, first person into the room. As stand roll, that's been Freslin to date. pulling the second in position is usually Lenny or Arya, resulting in either of those two making a dex save. Now, both of them get advantage on dex saves when dealing with traps. Here's the thing though, person at the back rolls at disadvantage. Typically the person at the back so far has either been Arya or Mooley. Arya has advantage on dex saves to avoid traps, Mooley does not. And anyone behind a failed second or third person in the list will be rolling at disadvantage. This is a way to catch people in traps, children, and is a mean thing to do, but we do it. And anyone caught in the trap will take 2d12 damage. Don't be that mean. 2d8. There we are. And the locked door is smashed in. Now, what's in the next room? Room number 3. We have that octagon. This is behind the stone door that may trigger the chute down to the boss. So it's got to be something interesting. 49. We have a random monster with treasure. Again, we leave enough space to fill this in afterwards when we roll up on the random monster table. So we go to 4 and we check. This is the square room where they can start heading southwards. 88. Oh, they'll be so happy. It's an empty room. They'll be so happy and paranoid. There we are. 5. What is in room 5? Which is the rectangular room of 88, which is another empty room. Oh, that'll make them very paranoid. We will find out what each of these rooms are in a moment as well. Like, in terms of like what they will be used for, what kind of contents they might have. 67 for room 6. We have a trap room. Really? Side room 6 appears to be more a secondary room. Oh, go on, let's trap it. I do like my traps. What is the trap? We have a 16. Oh, a clanging noise attracts nearby monsters. Not a bad plan. Which means we should surely a monster in room 3 or 7. What's in room 7? Now, if 7 is a monster, I'll leave it as 80. Ah, a trick room. Why have I not been using those? The tricks are so much more fun. So we'll be changing 6 to be a trick room rather than a trap room. So, tricks are very fun and very, very mean. You find out what exactly a trick in that room might be by using a d20 table, and then you see what the trick effect is. Tricks are non-harmful to the players, but they can waste time. They can cause issues. You have 4. So, inside the trick room, there'll be a cracked gem. On a table. What will the cracked gem do to our party? It'll do a 16. Oh! Change the character's alignment, personality, size, appearance, or sex when touched. Now the question is that permanent or not? Ooh, truly, truly a question. Well, first of all, the origin of the trick. Spell magic. You decide. I'm going to re-roll on that table just because I don't think my party will get that, or it won't have as much impact on this party as one would hope. Asks 3 skill testing questions. If all 3 are answered correctly, a reward appears. Skill testing, so that requires a certain skill that the party may or may not have to be passed. And if they pass, they get a reward. Again, difficult for my part. This is wrong. You've got to gradiate things to your party. You know what? Let's go with that trick room. We're going to customize it just a little bit. And we'll depend on who touches it. So, if Arya touches it, change gender. If Mooley touches it, if Lenny touches it, and if Freslin touches it, now, if Lenny touches it, changes sexuality. That could be quite interesting. I think the effect will be temporary. It will be a genuine effect, but it will be a temporary effect. And I think whatever effect is done will be for 1 hour. Mooley change personality. That should be quite an interesting thing for her to do. And the choices are alignment, personality, size, appearance, or sex. How about we change Freslin for 1 hour to be a large creature? Get rid of that nimbleness, replace with the statistics of having the enlarged spell cast upon him, or would that be cause an issue in combat? Appearance. There we are. So, depending on who touches it, a different effect will occur. The gemstone will disappear after it has been touched, and the effect will only last for 1 in-game hour. After that, the character will revert to how they were. With Arya, she will change her gender. With Mooley, she will change her personality. With Lenny, he will change his sexuality. And with Freslin, it will change his appearance to as he looked before the burns. I'll be making a few notes on that at a later date. That will be quite a fun one for the party. That will cause some very interesting party dynamic and party drama, I think. So, we need to return to the contents page. Here we are. Chamber content. We take another D100 roll. What is in room number 7, which is the end of this section? 28. Ah. A pet or allied creature. Well, now we know where to put the sovereign. If you know anything about Milox, I don't think it's Milox. God, I've been looking at them all day and now I can't quite remember. That's oozes, wights, will-o-wisps, ogres, myconids. That is where we're putting the myconid sovereign. With a few... Yes, with a few of the Quaggoth servants. and it will have the treasure for. Let's go with the whole dungeon. We'll do the whole dungeon challenge rating and then roll that up for the party, and that's where they can find it. I'm sure I said in a previous video, I don't like putting the loot in the same room as the boss. It just doesn't really make sense to me. So, now we have another room. 71. We have another random trap. Now, is it just me or the trap's getting a bit excessive at this point? I mean, in corridors, fair enough. I'll throw this trap in, but there'll be a little bit of a reward for them in this room. What kind of trap will they have to face? 57. An animated suit of armor. Always good. And let's throw in one enchanted weapon. Now, that's not, of course, for the armor to be wielding. The armor will be as standard. What level is the enchant? We'll find out in a moment. I'll have a look at the enchanted and animated armor in a moment. I might decide to drop 4 on the party. They are hard to hit, I can say that. So, in room 9, almost at the end of the dungeon. Well, almost at the end of this floor of the dungeon. The last part will be the boss fight. Room 9 will have 50, which is monsters. Now I know what to put in this room. It's something I've been planning when I actually what made me come up with this idea for this dungeon. When I knew that the Myconids would be in there and the Quaggoths. Basically, when they enter this room, they'll have to fight some Quaggoths. After they leave the room, and if they go the correct route, they hear the spores take over. And they can choose to run straight into the boss fight, or they can choose to turn around and fight. If they turn around to fight, they are now Quaggoth Myconid servants. Now, I suppose if they have managed to kill the Sovereign, that might not happen, which would, I suppose, reward the party. But it's a spore creature. One of these servants could easily become another Sovereign, because that's how mushrooms work. So, I'll have to wait and see how they're doing. If they're struggling at that point, I might not do it. If they are not struggling, then I will throw some Myconid, some Quaggoth Myconid servants at them. There we are. So, we'll fill that in a moment. It looks like there will be treasure in that room as well, so we'll look out a bit of loot for them to go alongside such a challenge. And the last one, of course, is room 10. Room 10, 77. That is another trick room. Oh, lovely. Fantastic. So, that trick room, what will be the trick object? 13. Runes engraved on the far wall. Triggers. What shall be the trick? Increase, reduce, negates, or reverses gravity. Oh, increase, reduce, negate, or reverse gravity. Let's go with reverse gravity. Let's have them walking on the ceiling for a few minutes. Nice and simple. Reverse gravity until leave room. A very simple one, really. Right, now let's work out what they have. So, in terms of enemies, I believe there is a... Oh, we also need to see what... Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself there. What kind of room are each of these that they're going into? Now, to an extent, what they're going into are mines, but to be honest, this is where they start getting into more of the less built areas. These are the bits that are a lair, armory, stock weapons. Not exactly what we're looking for. A maze? Not really. A death trap dungeon. Now that could work. Oh no, that's for viewers. Stronghold, treasure vault, dungeon chambers. I think we will need to use general dungeon chambers for these rolls. So we have a D100. Room 1 was originally a 26, which was a courtroom. So a court. Yep, that could actually work. A tribunal's courtroom. Now I'm probably giving these miners a bit more stock, but I suppose salt miners, especially of a revered or well-respected area, may have a small tribunal in case of disagreements between members. And better to deal with the problem there and then than take it above ground. Room number 2, which is of course more like trap rooms. Room number 2 was originally a 5, which was an aviary. I really don't... Actually, budgies. Yeah. You'd have budgies in a mine, so... Yes. There. Lots of cages. Memorials to fallen miners and budgies that they would take into the mines. Room number 3. 27. Would be a crypt. Now we're going to have a random monster in there. So, a crypt might be appropriate. Let's see what a reroll would give us. 30. A dining room. Don't really see that in a dungeon. 48. It's not a hallway. 90. You know, crypt is appropriate. It's a burial chamber for... it's a burial chamber. Burial chamber. There we go. There we are. So, 4 and 5 are empty rooms. Trick room is change of gender and similar things. Oh, we need to see what actually those rooms are. So what is room 4? 46. It's not a great hall. 55. Library. In a mine. No. 28. It is not a crypt. 37. A gallery. That's also as likely as the library. Let's go to dining room. It's a mess hall, with the connecting room being a kitchen, and the connecting room to the kitchen being a storeroom. Well, that actually all sort of works out after a moment. 7, where the Myconid Sovereign and the Quaggoth servants will be. 43. Well, that is appropriate. A guard room. Room 8 would make sense to be an armory, so we'll leave it as that. Room 9. The Quaggoths. 71. A robing room. So a changing room, really. Makes sense. This is probably the last leg to the deeper parts of the mine. And at least 10, the trick room. 19, the toilet. Well, cistern. That makes a lot of sense to go next to the changing room, to be fair. Now, we need the monster manual. Or do we need this still, actually? Random monsters. Does the random monsters come into this one? Yes, the random monsters come into this one. So let's find out what random monsters are in those random rooms. So we have one random monster, and it must either be an underdark, forest, coastal, arctic. So we've got the underdark there, that's fine. Here we go, underdark. Now, we want something a bit meaty, a bit tough. This is to go into the tribunal courtroom. You know, I've been looking at it for a little while, and it is a bit of a classic. Let's throw a gelatinous ooze at them. Everyone loves a gelatinous ooze. And I might, if I feel like it, throw a black pudding at them instead. Black pudding being a bigger version. Right, so that's that. A random monster with treasure in the burial chamber. This one needs to be a lot meaner. Now, if I drop a gelatinous ooze on them there, let's drop something a bit bigger on them in this bit. An earth elemental, roper. Could drop a salamander or a troll, not sure on that. Umber hulks. You know, vampire spawn might be the right sort of. What level is a revenant, actually? A revenant might be something a bit more up their alley. Revenants do have a challenge rating of 5, but that said, the main boss of the area is going to have a challenge rating of 5. So I'm not sure that would be appropriate. Let's go with something with a challenge rating of 4 in this area. Black Pudding, Bone Naga, Chul, Etin, a Flame Skull, or a Ghost. You know, a Ghost may work, but what about a Flame Skull? Because that sounds like fun. EFG. That's Gith. Could throw Gith at them. There's always the option of fungi. I look forward to eventually throwing a Fomorian at them. Flame Skull, challenge rating of 4. Well, only dimly recalls its former life, though it might speak in its old voice and recount key events from its past. Fantastic. They'll have a lovely Flame Skull to deal with. So, let's roll those numbers while we're on it. So, random 3 in the burial chamber will be a Flame Skull, an angry spirit that was left to die. How very sad. Set the stats up there. Set the loot there. EXP gained from this will be 1,100. EXP from the gelatinous cube will be 450. That's fine. 100. Okay. So it has a fire ray, which gives it a +5 to hit. And it has got a bit of spellcasting capacity, which should be quite interesting for them to deal with. Does 3d6 fire and has a +5 to hit. I write out its spells very quickly. So, Mage Hand as cantrip. Three a day. It has Magic Missile and Shield. Two a day. Has Blur and Flaming Sphere. and 1 a day fireball. Because just fireball. Fantastic. So there is the chance of it coming back, but they'll be well out of the room if that happens. That said, of course, they do have a paladin in the group who may very well know how to deal with an angry, undead flaming skull. Also, it's undead. Mully and the party deals with undead. This could be quite interesting indeed. Yeah, so I can use all of that. Charmed, frightened, paralysed, poisoned and prone. Damage resistance, lightning, necrotic and piercing. That'll be fun. 9d4 plus 18. Not very much in the way of hit points. d4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we are. Let's see how many hit points the Flame Skull will have when they face it. Hold dice, reroll ones. 2, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 4 ones were rolled, that's not good. 2, 1, 3, 3. So we have 8, 10, 6, 10, 24 plus 14 hit points. With an armor class of 13, probably just because it's small. So we had 24, 32, 42 hit points. Not really very much. I don't think that fight's going to go on for very long if the party work together quite well. Now that said, I can throw up a couple of shields to make the fight go on for longer, just to make them sweat a little bit. But that's quite alright. There we go. Not need to worry about those for a bit. Now let's sort out that gelatinous ooze. Gibbering mouther, always good. Was very tempted to throw a ghost at them, but maybe another time. So, hook horror, that could have also been fun. LMNO. Remember, children, your alphabet will make you a much better games master. Ogres, Oni, black pudding. Do I opt for black pudding or do I opt for a standard ooze? I'm already throwing some big things out, let's just throw an ooze at them. Sometimes it's just so much nicer. Yep, standard ooze. We have for a gelatinous cube. Oh, and don't forget to include what page number everything is. Otherwise you will kick yourself later. So, page number of the gelatinous cube is 242. It has an armor class of 6, jeez. I think any of my party are going to be missing that except they're all ones. Yep, armor class of 6, very slow attacks. Has pseudopod and engulf. Which does 3d6 acid. And has a +4 to hit. Fantastic. Also has the option to engulf. So I'll need to remember that rule and read up on it when the fight occurs. Health points. It has 8d10 plus 40. Is a larger creature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can see why black oozes are a bit, black puddings are a bit worse because they have 10d10 plus 40. Here we are. Hold the high numbers, re-roll the low. We have 8, a 9, 6, 6. Hold the 4. Re-roll the 2 and the 2 ones. Okay, didn't really change much. Right, we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 80 hit points. So slightly weaker than your typical ooze. Now we need to find out what kind of loot was in Flame Skull's room. What exactly treasure will the party find in an underground crypt assault mine? Let's give them one roll off a low-level treasure table. They won't get the money, but whatever is rolled is what they will get. Here we are. So that's the individual treasure. By challenge, I'm going with treasure hoard, and we're making a roll off this table. So we'll get the money from the Flame Skull, which is a DC 4 enemy, and I'll just give them the GP worth, which is 3d6. Reroll that one. Yep, that's fine. That's 11, 14 GP. And if they roll a DC 15 or better, then they will find an item of the Treasure Hoard Challenge 0 to 4, which will be, roll a, 23. Oh, that's not fun at all. Let's re-roll that. Absolutely nothing. 46. There we are. 46. 2d4, 25 GP art objects. So we'll roll up on that. So 2d4. Tell you what, this one goes to the standard. They'll find 1. And this one goes to the other. They'll find 1. So they'll find 2 art objects. In that one, they will find a gold bracelet. In that one, they will find a goblet. Yep. But they will also find 1 magic item. A d6 magic items from table A. 1. Correct. So table A. Fairly simple, it's mostly just potions or scrolls. So we need the D100 again. Gives us a 39, a potion of healing. Yep, absolutely fine. So that's the treasure they get from that. So we then go to the next table. We have the Myconid Sovereign and the Quaggoth Servant. We'll be rolling a full loot table once we have calculated what the final DC challenge rating of this dungeon will be. So we need the Myconid Servant, who will be assisted by... well, that's no fun. 3 Quaggoth Servants. So a DC rating of 8, so a little bit deadly for them. So we need the Myconids. We're on the Myconids, fantastic. So the Sovereign. QS. QS. And QS. The loot that we found in that room will be for the whole dungeon, which will roll up in the 4th video, which will be after the boss fight and calculating experience point gain and division. So the Myconid Sovereign has an AC of 13, which is the same as the Quaggoth Servants. Now remember this because I've written up enough Quaggoths at this point. The Quaggoths have the multi-attack with the D6, plus 3 damage with a plus 5 to hit. That's the same across the board. When they're a servant, they lose their enraged attacking ability though. D6 plus 3 plus 5. Okay. Oh wait, if they're servants, then they're now a DC of 3, so this is a challenge rating of 5. So not that bad when you get down to it. So the Myconid Servant will be a 450 EXP drop, while the Servants will be 200 a pop, so an extra 600. So the total experience gain from that fight will be 1050. Not too bad, I don't think. So the Sovereign has a lot of abilities. I'm not going to include all of them, but I will remember the page, which is page 232. I will roll up the hit points, which are, it is a large plant, so it rolls off d10s, and it has 8d10 plus 16. So, 8d10. We hold the dice, reroll any cack dice. Yep. So 9, 8, 6, 5. Hold those, reroll the rest. Another 5, a 3 and a 4, and another 8. So, this will be all added to 16, which will be the total for it. Well, that would make it has an ability known as Pain Sense. So, Distress Spores. Basically, all of its children will know that it's being attacked. This will be a warning sign, not just to the other Myconids that may appear, which may be why they come after the party for revenge. In a sense, they're not. I mean, to be fair, the Myconid Sovereign is fairly intelligent. It's got an intelligence out of 13, so a +1 modifier. It's more intelligent than the average human. But the standard spores are not. That's fine. So, let's work this out. Otherwise, I'm going to be here all night. So, 10, 20. 9 plus 8 is 17, so that's another 20. That's 40, 48, 54, 64 hit points. So it's a bit tougher than your typical Myconid Sovereign. There we are. And now for the Quaggoth Servants. The Quaggoth Spore Servants. They have a hit point range of 68 plus 18. But they lose some of their more useful racial abilities. They do become immune to certain other things though, so there is that, I suppose. So we'll be rolling up for each individually. That's already not rolled well. Hold the 7 and 4, reroll the rest. 10, 20, 32 plus 18, 40, 50. So it's wound up with better HP than it might have done, but not by much. Yeah, again, not great. So hold, hold, hold. You can only reroll one number. Okay then. 12, 20, 30, 48 hit points. And the last one we roll out. Okay, that was absolutely horrific. So we hold the 6 and the 5, we re-roll the rest because they were all 1s. Much better. 2 8s, a 6, and a 2. So we have 10 there, 12, 20, so that's 30, 35, 43, 53 hit points. Fantastic. We will work out the loot in the 4th video, as I said. Next we have the animated armor. There's going to be 4 animated armor total. So we go to the animated section. Now I know off the top of my head these things have an armor class of 18. Just because I've been looking at them recently. Cambion, Needle Blight, Flying Sword. There we go. Animated armor has hit points of 68 plus 6. is completely unarmed, so each will do d6 plus 2 damage with a 2 hit bonus of plus 4, and that'll be the same across the board, and they each get 2 attacks. Okay, so the first one, not going to re-roll anything, because by my own rules I can't, because the lowest rolls were 3 3s. So, alright then. 9, 15, 19, 27, 33. Weird. Next roll. Reroll the 2 2s. Okay, that came out better. 8, 20, 30, 36 hit points. Next one. Reroll the 1 and the 2. You get a 4 and 3, so only just better. So that's 10, 20, 25, 31. And the last one. Reroll the 2 2s. Yep, that came out better. 8, 16, 20, 33, 36, 42 hit points on that last one. Now we go to the random treasure table. I said there would be a random magical weapon in there. So let's take a look at the random magical weapons table. Magical item, magical item, magical item, magical item, magical item. Here we are. Here we go. Let's roll off of... We'll roll off the lowest end. Magic item table G. So we need the 2 D100 dice, which gives us 94. It's a wand, so not exactly. What's 94 on the next table? An armor, which we didn't want. We want a weapon. So we re-roll. The last item would have been a ring of 3 wishes. We're looking for a weapon. 61. Mantle of spell resistance, could be useful. Armor of resistance, nope. 61. Armor plus 1 plate. They keep getting armor at the moment. We're not giving them armor. And especially not giving Freslin armor this early. Especially not that level enchanted armor. 25 on this table. Boulder Cunning Water Elements, nope. 25 Robe of Stars, definitely not. And 25 Ring of Ginny Summoning, definitely not. The tables are not my friend today, it would appear. If this table comes with nothing, they're getting a suit of plate armor plus 1, and that's it. Only one member of the party that can use it. Screw it. 13. Figurine of Wondrous Power. Nope. 13. Carpet of Flying. I would love that with one of my current characters. 13. And a Luck Blade. Now let's take a look at that. QRSLLLL. Potions. LM. Iron Bands of Valaro. Javelin of Lightning. Luck Blade. Weapon, any sword legendary requires attunement. You can plus 1 bonus attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon while the sword is in your person. You also get a plus 1 bonus on saving throws. As well as in a person, you can call on its luck. Now it's required to re-roll 1 attack roll, ability check, or saving throw you dislike. You must use the second roll. This property can't be used again until the next dawn. I'm giving them plate armor. My issue with that weapon basically is purely that Freslin would have no use for it. Arya already has a magic weapon, and it would be not very useful for Lenny. On top of that, the luck roll, I'm not sure they use that very much. So give them plate, armor, plus 1. Yeah, it's fairly obvious who that's for, but screw it. It was the one that really made sense on that entire goddamn table. So, that was that one. Last but not least, we have the monster Quaggoths and the spores. So, how about we throw 4 at them? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll do 2 convergent hit point ranges, because their armor class will stay the same. And their damage will remain the same. D6 plus 3 with a plus 5 chance to hit. There we are. And Quaggoth's hit points. That could be something to throw at them. QRS. Slards. Again, it can't be me that thinks Slards are absolutely amazing monsters. I'm looking forward again to my party being high enough level that I could throw something like that at them. Here we are. So the 68 plus 18. Reroll the 1. Yep. So that's 6, 10, 14, 17, 17 plus 10, 27 plus 18. That is 35, 45. I'll put a forward slash across it to see what the difference is. No rerolls there. That was very high roll. Jesus. 16, 24, 34, 41, 49, 59 hit points. Jeez. Even I think that was mean. Reroll the 1 and the 2. Yep. 12, 20, 25, 33, 43. Now, if it turns out that the Quaggoths and the Myconids have the same hit point range, I'll just take off 18 from whatever they had to account for damage dealt. Reroll the 1. There we go. 8, 16, 20, 30, 33, 41, 51. So we've got a pretty big bruiser lot of Quaggoths. No Thonots. I'm not going to throw another Thonot at them in this area. Intellect Devourer, Jackalware, Wererats, Lycanthropes, Manticores, Myconid, Mind Flayer, Modron, Mummy, Myconid. 68 plus 18. So we'll drop 18 points from the damage. So 45 minus 18, that is 37, 27, 51, 41, 35, 25, and 43, 33. And they all have armor class of 13. There we are. And the loot for that room will be something reasonably fair, because let's see, that's 4 level 2, which would be 1800, and then 4 level 1s straight after, which would be 200 piece, so that's 800. So that'd be a total of 2,600 for one fight. We calculate the loot using this one. $2,600 EXP is the equivalent of about a band 6 critter. So let's roll them off the individual challenge 5 to 10. So we take the D100, we roll the 29, which is the base one. Pour them. 4d6 times 100 copper pieces. 6, 12, 1500 CP, and 1d6 Electrum, 1 EP. So call that 5 silver pieces, because I know my party hate using Electrum. So let's relate that all up to silver pieces. That'd be 155 silver pieces total, which would be 15 gold and 5 silver pieces. Let's give them that as some actual loot though. So 155 silver pieces, 15 gold. Let's get the player's handbook. What do they find? Let's take a look in terms of the trade goods. So we need to give them about 15 gold. They can't find an ox. Come on. And it's unlikely they'll find a box of saffron. Unlikely to find a cow. They very well might find a ton of silver. That could work. Yes, I think that is the result there. They will find 3 pounds of silver. Right, that is floor 2 finished. A very quick add up will tell me exactly how many experience points they're getting from that level. And then join me for level 4, where I plan the final boss encounter, work out experience doling, and final loot give-outs. It shouldn't be anywhere near as long as this video, trust me. There we are. Right. So, that floor totals 5,200 experience points. I expect at least 1 to 2 short rests and 1 long rest before moving on to the 3rd level. Remember what I said before at the start of the video. If they take a long rest and have not cleared out all the enemies, they're coming for them. Thank you. Like and subscribe for future videos. If you like these kind of videos, please tell me. I really do just want to make content that people find in some way enjoyable. I do enjoy Dungeons & Dragons and other role-playing games. I like making these kind of videos and would like to make more of them. So even just a like, a subscribe, or even just showing one of my videos to one of your friends would be a huge help to me. Thank you. See you later. Bye.